All right, and with that, I'll soon hand it over to Danny. So Danny Lein is Twipe's CEO and founder. Danny, you came back from a week-long AI study tour alongside Sandro. I think you met with the big AI players, you met with small AI startups, you met with publishers using the technology. I think one of the first things you said to me when you got back was the time to act is now. So can you expand on that?
Yes, thank you, Sarah. Absolutely. So yeah, end of January, I kind of joined a One IFRA AI study tour together with a group of about 20 people, mostly from European publishers. And we kind of went out to learn what's happening out there in San Francisco in the Valley on AI, and what kind of takeaways do we have. And one of the key takeaways, and we're going to address that today as well, is, hey, it's time to act, really act. There's a lot of things that have happened since October 22 when OpenAI launched ChatGPT, a lot of new developments, but really now is not, it's not anymore time to stand on the sideline, it's time to jump in. And so the reason why we organize these webinars is to say, okay, who are the people now making it happen? And that's why we invited Sandro together with us today. But let me give you first maybe a little flavor of that tour before we dive into the discussion. So here's the kind of the group of people that we joined in the front. You can see Vincent from the One IFRA, mainly organizing. A lot of French people, but also from Switzerland, from the US, from Germany were joining us for a whole week. We have been end of January over there. It was quite an exciting and an immersive experience, and especially kind of being in a Waymo and going through San Francisco is quite an, I would say, an immersive AI experience. And when I was kind of in the taxi going from the airport to the hotel, I saw this publicity alongside the road, where basically the claim is humans are so 2023. And so you can hire an AI BDR. BDR is a business development representative, basically a salesperson with a company called Artisan. And Artisan is not the only one who's kind of making promotion for what essentially are AI workers. And that is, of course, very interesting also for us in the news industry. What kind of AI work will we in the future see being done not by humans, but also by, let's say, machines? We've been visiting, let's say, on the one hand, the kind of new entrants in the game, like Perplexity, which is a fascinating company if you talk about product innovation, but also lesser known startups that kind of focus on the space of how can publishers protect and monetize their content, like Prorata or Tollbit or ScalePost. How can they monetize in a B2B world their content? An interesting company that I recommend everyone to follow is Particle, which we also had a nice session with. Particle is a B2C company founded by former Twitter product people and trying to bring the news in a new way. Very interesting to learn. But we also took the time to listen and engage with, for instance, the San Francisco Chronicle, which has a very charismatic editor-in-chief, Emilio. If you have the chance to engage with him, he's a former editor of the Washington Post. But basically his statement was, hey guys, we have to reinvent ourselves here in this, he called it post-social, post-search, and post-link world. It's a new world that is now, has come to exist, right? And throughout all the sessions, we kind of experienced very much AI has arrived. You can either jump on board or you can be left behind. Basically, this is the notion of time to act. What we've also done is not only visiting those companies, but we were kind of able to join, for instance, here kind of a demo night of all young startups, like who are all of them is going to change the world, essentially. Typically small startups that either are working on a software problem or on a business problem, and that then demo this in an evening. And of course, this kind of very kind of ambition, the sky is the limit kind of fashion. And one of the most, I would say, even weird experience we had is that we visited this kind of big mansion. It was like a $60 million mansion in the valley, which was occupied, as we could say, by, I would say, digital hippies which kind of also hosting hackathons, inviting celebrities, and kind of create this whole new world. And I must say, at that moment, and we will come back on that later, it felt very much 1999. I will come back on that a bit later today. But yes, Ezra Iman, who is, as you know, at NPO today, formerly Media House, but he's also in One IFRA, the AI ambassador. He was joining the trip as well. Pretty much summarized is say, hey, a lot has happened, but a lot is still happening. And either we can make it work for us, then it's being delivered to us, right? So, and that is basically the notion of today's session with Sandro. Very happy and welcome, Sandro, in this kind of webinar. Very happy that you could make your time available to exchange with us today. Sandro was one of the key participants on the tour. And so basically, Sandro, can you maybe briefly introduce yourself?
Hi, everybody. I'm really happy that I got invited here. It's my pleasure. My name is Sandro Inguscio. I am a Chief Digital Officer at Ringier Media Switzerland. Ringier in general has 6,600 employees, is 140 companies, and we're in over 20 countries. It's across media and social media and marketplaces. So also leading Blick, which is our biggest new media in our portfolio, together with my colleague Steffi Buchli.
Great. And so just tell me a little bit, why did you join that trip as a starter?
Well, at Ringier, we're always trying to be the front runners in technology. So we jumped really early on the digital transformation of our media brand. We trying to be on top of the wave also with AI, with personalization. So it was logical that when we saw the program of that One IFRA was able to put together, to go over there and speak directly to them. This is always a big chance instead of trying to interact over the media salesperson, you know.
Yeah. And if you look back now, a couple of months later, what are like your key takeaways? What is it that you have taken from that trip and that you kind of took to at heart and took to action?
Actually, it took me a little while to digest. Good thing it's a really long flight back, so you have a lot of time to think about it. I think I will put it in 3 points. It's like AI isn't coming, AI is here. It will change everything. I'm convinced about that, and this also helps you to get the right mindset. And as an industry, I say greatly missed out on the internet, then the iPhone, and then social media. I think we really have to be on top of this one and shouldn't miss out on AI, because otherwise we're just going to be having guys and girls after us thinking, be like, how could they miss this one? Secondly, was kind of worrying to frustrating is that the big dogs, and I say OpenAI and Perplexity, all them, they're really working on a great technology, but they don't really have a business case. That was disappointing and irritating, which is also a great chance, because then you can take it in your own hands. And the third thing is, I'm a little bit worried about our industry, that we are doing what we always do, is like we take something, then we are good in putting it into a business case, but then we're always just thinking in efficiency and saving. So, but saving is ends. You know, you can only save what you have, and we're not focused enough to think about revenues and top lines and opportunities. So that would be a pity if we miss out and see this tech revolution that is ahead of us, or we're in the middle of it, only as a efficiency case, and miss out on the really big opportunities where I think we still have to figure out.
Yeah. I do remember you in almost every single session asking that same question. Hey, we're here not to kind of reduce cost, but we're here to try to grow the pie, first of all. Any concrete ideas that you kind of said, okay, here's maybe something that in terms of revenue generation potential, we could pick up as a group, as a company, or as a brand, Blick for that matter?
I think it is step by step, right? It's, you first have to always like jump into it and understand what is really going on. And I think the big aha moment was for me is they are stuffed with money, but they never had to think about how to make money, because the money is just there. So all they do is go in this race and build the technology. So which is then, once you know that, is they did not think about a business case. So it is up to us to think in business cases, which I think we need to start now, because if we start to think that they thought about us and they will do the work for us and build a business case and will take care of the publishers, they will not. They really do not care about us. And once they will realize that we are kind of important, it could be too late. So therefore, we have to take it in our own hands. And the answer then is, I don't have the $1 billion idea yet, but I think my mindset changed a lot after this tour to take it in our own hands.
To take it in your own hands, yeah. I do remember quite a number of discussions indeed amongst publishers to what you said. You did not have the impression that these open AIs or Perplexities or Google for that matter really care at this stage about news publishing. It is like one of the elements that they need to kind of have in their portfolio because they are building this huge thing. But was that also your perception individually, like from those sessions?
I think that changed a lot during that week, especially once we had the OpenAI and the Perplexity. Is they have, to me, the mindset of the Google back then, that it's like, it's just there. We can crawl it all. We can scrape it all. We can literally just pirate whatever is out in the internet. And this is how Google was in the beginning too. And they actually adapted the old school mind of thinking of Google back then. They just crawl everything and be like, oh, the stupid publishers could think they invest all that money to create data, to create content, to create news, and they just crawl it, and they don't really care how we're going to survive. So they have something left to crawl, which Google changed way more. If we look at the showcases and all that stuff that came from Google lately, that they realize, hey, we got to give them something to survive. And I think that changed a little bit my perspective on how to look at the OpenAI and Perplexity, because whatever they offer right now is a piece of nothing, right? So they're like, we're going to give you a cut, we're going to give you some rev share out of nothing, because they don't have to make money because they're stuffed with billions of their investors. So it is up to us then to use their technology, not their business models.
Yeah, that was also very clear. Also in terms of, I do remember a session with Perplexity basically saying, yeah, we do not scrape, we do respect the robots and all of that. And then one person in the room could say, but look at this content. And then they said, but we do use third-party scrapers. And they might scrape you, right? So in terms of business ethics, maybe also a bit challenging out there?
I mean, are we really surprised? Look, if they can, they do. And I think by the time that we realized what they're doing, they scraped it all. I think they read every data that has I think I heard that. Don't hammer me on it. But it's like, I think they read the whole internet already that has ever been produced, every data that has been produced. So what they have a little bit of an awakening is now, that was that moment when one of the OpenAI guys said that now that they have the GPT search, they now realize, oh, people are really interested in news. And be like, surprise.
Yeah.
Creating the news data, it is us. So I think late now they have to try to get us on board, and I don't really see how they're trying to do that, because they keep saying they send us traffic. We don't see much.
Any traffic at this stage. One of for me, the key takeaways is indeed, if you look at, there's this shift from search engines to answer machines or answer engines, whatever a Perplexity calls them. So we're an answer engine, and people give us a question. We don't give 10 blue links. We give you a concrete answer to your question with sources which are a bit hidden and then nobody clicks upon. Now, to feed those answer machines, you need to indeed have all the content. And one of the key insights is this explosion of crawlers out there, right? And that are scraping. And what I understood, almost half of all internet traffic today is not anymore human traffic, but it's bot-generated traffic. Is that something that you also experience, and what have you done yourselves to protect that matter?
I think it is... it's a little bit of a mentality game right now. Either you're going to go protect yourself against something that I think will happen anyway. So they crawl you. They will not send you any traffic back. So it goes back to, how much do I invest to try to get on board or in bed with them by not receiving anything? Or how much do I do the same thing, be like, oh, you are using my data to create your model, so I'm going to use your technology to increase my revenue. So it's like, it's like you taking from me, I don't ask you, I'm taking from you. And this is, I think, a mindset shift that we need to do as an industry, because we're always used I think since print is going down, we are in this defense mode the whole time. Be like, oh, the digital has to compensate for the print, so it's defense. And then all of a sudden, no, digital can't compensate because the ad revenue is really volatile with the world situation that we're in. And then subscriptions are not as fast growing as the ad revenues are volatile. So it's like, either you're going to crawl back all the time, or now we go and march forward and use this technology to create new revenues, where I'm saying it's an AI ad revenue strategy, or all these new possible business models, which is hard because you have to have a look in the mirror and be like, we can't just go in efficiency. We can't just always save, because then we're gonna save ourselves into nothing.
Till death, right?
Yes.
That's basically what I remember. In that whole space of bots and crawlers and let's say machine generated traffic, there's a couple of interesting startups that we have seen, like a Tollbit or a Scale Post or a Prorata.ai, and also a Mizo.ai, which aim to kind of bring new revenue generation value propositions to publishers, basically saying, hey, the B2B marketplace for content, selling them to machines, like paywalls to machines, is like $25 billion. Join us. Who ticked the box from your point of view? Who of the presentations said, we've seen something over there that was relevant, that was useful?
It goes a little bit back into the mindset. I'm like, I appreciate all the initiatives that they're taking. I think it's important. On the other hand, I'm not going to wait till somebody else will find a solution for us as an industry, or, for example, us as a company, because our responsibility to take our own destiny in our own hands. And then I'm not going to wait till somebody builds a business case and I'm be like, oh, I'm going to copy that one. So I think the pro rata, for example, is a good start, and the idea is the right one. But I'm saying this only will work if you put everybody behind you to go then to the big dogs, as I call them, and be like, look, we're going to cut you off in one industry, and you're going to have a big problem because you're not going to have the news data that everybody's looking for. But history showed us a little bit that us as an industry is not so easy to put behind one goal, isn't it? So I'm like,
that is a collaboration. At least it's good to have already a trip together, right? And drink a beer and discuss together. But collaboration is another thing. We have a question from the audience, basically on did you see any ideas, Mer? How could AI help to kind of let's say reduce churn, or kind of build ongoing better relationships in your customer base? Any ideas that you gathered throughout the week or even after? Is AI a tool for you guys in there?
For especially churn, or just
churn reduction, specifically to churn reduction.
What we're working on is, I think we are, I'm talking for Blick now, our biggest brand.
Yeah.
What we're trying to do is, we are a reach media. So, but we have like built we have subscription model, right? We're trying to balance that out. So we are now manually by 10% trying to figure out, it's like, how much and which content do we put on there that gets us conversion to not hurt reach. So it's a really challenging distribution game we're trying to do, which we're doing okay, I would say. I think AI will help us, and we will implement is now to create a smarter paywall that knows where you're coming, know if you're a one-time user, if you're a multiple-time user, that then helps us figure out and we're working on that, is to know what is your route as a user, what is your behavior, and how likely is it that you will subscribe or convert or none of it. So I give you either free or login or subscription. And I think this is where AI can come in really handy, because then you will optimize at the same time reach and subscription and login. And I think this is stuff, but that's what I'm saying, is you have to understand your own business, your own traffic, and your own user to then use the technology to find the missing puzzle. And I think we've seen a few of those in the study tour, like Wing with the video, or like Miso with the AI strategy, like with Scrunch with the optimization. I think we are working already. I came home, I set up a bunch of trials, get in touch with them, analyze it, test it, jump on it, let it go, take the next one, and just keep the pace really high up to find the missing puzzle for your own.
I do remember during the session, during that journey, you were kind of discussing, hey, we're introducing a chatbot for Blick. And Blick is a sports newspaper for people who do not really know. Sports is really core and central. It's not only sports, but I think sports is quite high on your value proposition. And it was not an easy journey. Can you briefly kind of explain that journey for a chatbot for that kind of newspaper?
So, like, I think we jumped on the AI wave like 2 years ago and started to build job profile and teams, then built based on the newsroom needs. We started to build our own features. Today, we work with 5 to 6 AI tools that are customized for our newsroom to optimize and efficiency and everything. And so this is already our daily basis, is that our newsroom works with like 5 to 6 customized tools. And then on top, we have personalization that is AI based. And then we have, AI helps us with the subtitles. And then on top, we were like, well, how is user behavior going to change? Probably, I mean, it's always a bet, in the next few years. We see this. If ChatGPT grows that fast and Perplexity grows that fast, there is obviously an open-minded society out there that is happy to try it out again, right?
Sure.
So instead of doing the same thing like back then and be like wondering why people use Google to find something, and then be like now all amazed why people ask ChatGPT to do something, we were like, well, if you're already coming to us and we know that the behavior on ChatGPT is this and this, so let's try to adapt the behavior and bring it on our own website, which now created a chatbot that is relied, though, on editorial rules instead of Google and ChatGPT. So it's like you
own content.
It's talking.
It's your own content. It's only your own content that you
only our own content of Blick. We will extend it probably to Ringier in Switzerland, but we are sure about the content. It's reliable. It's trustworthy. It's like talking to the newsroom, but you can interact with it. And then we went together with Google, and we thought it was going to take us a few months, and it did not. But we did that. It took us way longer. It was way more effort to put in, but it was an interesting journey. Especially, we were really strict on the quality. We were like, we do not go if it's not on this level, because then it's just going to be like the Googles and the ChatGPT. So we want to have an editorial chatbot. And so we went live like 2 weeks ago with a really, I can share this in this round. We went a soft launch and we're rolling it out like 5% right now. We're really happy with what we're seeing, and we continue to do so if it all works.
Okay, very good. So encouraging early results. Maybe a final question, because time is flying. But to me, we had a discussion, remember, when we were driving back from the AGI house. To me, it felt so much 1999 into a degree, and like that year where I started, by the way, my first company, which is just on the kind of the steep up climb of the .com bubble, which then burst out heavily, quite. And then you said, Danny, I don't agree with you. Tell me a little bit more.
Or maybe I think we had some good conversation, especially those taxis. Somebody put it in a really interesting perspective. I listened to a podcast, I don't remember. It said, think of AI like the internet in 1997. So and this is where I'm always saying, go back to the mindset and be open to it. It's like, if we could go back to 1997 with what we know today about the internet, we would jump on it. We would try it. We would go for it. We would try test cases. We will build business cases. We would embrace it. And so what we know today, and this is, I'm really sure about this, is AI will change everything and AI will not go away. If you see this as a fact, then all you can do is get that mindset and don't do the mistake again and wait till it goes away or somebody tells you what to do. So I am treating it like the internet in 1997. If I have a time machine, I will go on it and try to make the most out of the internet. And so that's what we're trying to do with AI.
Okay. So we have to invent a new song in 1997 rather than 1999 from Prince. With these wise words and these great insights, Sandro, time is up already. I need to thank you for basically not only this session, but also the very great exchanges that we had during the tour. I do hope that with your mindset and your level of initiative and action orientation, you can bring Blick and other brands in your portfolio to the next level, and you can build something that the tech giants can't. So I really, really hope that, and maybe we can play a role in that or not, but thanks a lot. And then handing over back to Sarah, who has still a couple of very interesting announcements for you to wrap it up today.
Yes, thanks for a great conversation. So at the start, I said I had 2 scoops, so here they are. The first is, this is one of hopefully a series of many webinars called the AI Frontrunners and News webinar. So actually we'll be joined by Lucky, who is the CEO and co-founder of MISO AI. He, according to Danny, was one of the most engaging and interesting speakers, so we're really excited to have him join us for the second webinar. For the second scoop, and you're the first to know, we haven't made this communication anywhere else, is that we're hosting the 8th Annual Digital Growth Summit this year. So it will take place on October 14th in Stuttgart. If you want, you can join 150 media professionals. We have great workshops, fantastic speakers, and even better participants. So you can register today if you'd like, and Danny will share in the chat and we'll share afterwards as well. You can register for the pre-sales and you'll get some information on how you can get the best discounts available. So before I let you go, thanks for joining again. Your feedback is really appreciated. If you have a second to give a share.